Should countries ever consider leaving the resources in the ground?
2/3 of current reserves of fossil fuels are going to need to stay in the ground if we're to stay within the 2-degree increase.
Climate change is an undeniable challenge that is facing the whole planet.
I think it's obviously imperative that we meet the target set out in the Paris COP.
Yes, when the world does not use oil anymore, but at the moment if you have it, get it out as long as you have the right framework in place.
If climate change and the global climate agreement comes into force, oil and gas rich developing countries need to work as quickly as possible.
Oil and coal have been of the utmost importance in the process of humankind development.
Only if it's a white elephant. Otherwise, mining is a trigger for development, go dig it up.
Resource-dependent countries ought to develop their resources. They just have to be smart about doing that.
You don't develop capacity to manage your resources if you don't practice it. This is an industry where you learn by doing.
The saying goes, leave the coal in the hole and leave the oil in the soil. Should this ever be considered as an alternative?
It is being considered an alternative in countries like Indonesia, and I think they will not change their mind unless they are convinced that by having foreign mining, they will benefit.
There are times for environmental, social, and other reasons when resources either shouldn't be extracted ever or at that time.
Yes, it should be considered, but there has to be a mechanism of compensation.
Countries should certainly pause before developing their extractive sectors if their institutional capabilities are not up to par.
If a country has other natural resources or even other economic sectors that are already established that might be harmed by the extractive sector.
If market prices aren't high and if the enabling environment isn't conducive, the natural result is it stays in the soil.
Particularly if the country really lacks the capacity to make sensible use of the revenue.
Mineral resources should never be extracted unless it is for economic value. And economic value is different to revenue. If it's only for generating revenue, leave them in the ground.
If you leave it in the ground, it may never have any value.
Welcome to the new debate.